Hi guys, today I want to talk about two climbers that inspired me. When I heard this story, I was just blown away. It was a riveting story and I'm hoping that you enjoy it too. So here we go. In the summer of 1985, Joe Simpson and his climbing partner Simon Yates decided to conquer an unclimbed route in the Peruvian Andes. If they were successful, their feat would be considered a major achievement in the mountaineering community. The journey begins with significant obstacles in the first few days. Okay, so Joe and Simon overcome snowstorms, dangerous terrain to reach the summit, and they're also, exhausted, obviously, doing an ascent like that. They're about 4 miles above sea level at the summit, and their climb is an incredible achievement, but they don't have much time to really celebrate. The ascent has taken them much longer than they planned due to bad weather, and after running out of fuel for their stove, they're no longer able to take snow and ice and melt it in their stove for water. So they need to kind of get down the mountain as quickly as they possibly can, before it gets dark and also before they die of the cold as well. And Joe slips and he has an accident and falls down quite a significant descent and breaks his upper femur bone in his leg and also breaks his ankle. So obviously, as you can imagine, this is a major issue for climbers, especially at the top of a mountain when you have to get down and you've got a broken leg. So instead of giving up, Simon decides that what he's going to do, he's going to tie two 150-foot ropes together so that he can slowly lower his partner down, Joe, down the mountain. And at first, this system works really well. But as it's getting darker and the two men are getting more and more exhausted, it's agonizing for Joe with his leg and his ankle as they're going down. But eventually, inadvertently, Simon lowers his partner over a cliff. And because of the storm and the darkness and the wind and so on, he can't hear Joe screaming for him to stop. So he lowers him over the edge. But then he feels a dead weight on the end of his rope. Simon does. So he decides something's gone wrong. But obviously he can't be in contact with what Joe is experiencing. So Joe is dangling on a rope above a massive crevasse underneath, like a big ice valley. So this goes for about an hour, and Simon is freezing to death, and he knows that he doesn't know what's happened to Joe, whether he's dead or alive, but all he can feel is that Joe is not making any movement on the rope. So he takes an awful decision and he decides to cut the rope, and Joe falls down into darkness. Simon quickly gets himself up and he makes his way down to base camp. It takes him a long time to do this, and he's exhausted and suffering from dehydration. But eventually he gets back. But Joe, he wakes up the next day inside an actual crevasse itself. Now he can't climb out because of his leg injuries. So what he can do is he can only lower himself further down because he's got no other choice. Once he reaches the bottom of the crevasse, it's dark and so on. He can't find anywhere where he's going, so he's crawling along the ground. And he finally sees a little bit of light, crawls towards the light, and he finally finds himself out on top of the glacier. So that's only part of it. He's still got 5 miles to crawl with a broken leg, broken hip, and his ankle to get back to base camp. And of course, it takes him 3 days to crawl along this glacier. And he's dying of starvation. He's dying of dehydration. He's dying of internal bleeding inside his body and so on as well. But eventually he does make it back to base camp, and he collapses in an old creek bed and he starts yelling, and Simon's about to leave to go back to hospital in one of the villages about 2 days ride away. But he faintly hears Joe's voice on the wind, and he goes to investigate and finds his friend dying in the creek bed. But he does save him. It's a great movie. You can watch it. It's been made into a movie now called Touching the Void. Check it out. It's fantastic. And a great story of survival and celebrating life. Thank you. Thanks for listening.